Bart Ehrman has estimated that we have as many as 400,000 textual variants among our manuscripts, and I think that might be actually a little bit low. I think it might be closer to 500,000 now. But I suggested to him years ago that I thought it was at 400,000. And I don't know if that's where he got the number, but he had held a 300 for some time. But the fact is, we definitely have more variants than we have words in the original New Testament. About 2.5 times as many variants. Now, if you hear that, and you hear only that, then it's going to create a bunch of chicken littles, and people are thinking the sky is falling, and what do I do? The rest of the story is this. Of those 400,000 textual variants, the vast majority of them are spelling differences that affect absolutely nothing. The most common textual variant, and when I say the vast majority, about 75% of them are just spelling differences. The most common textual variant we have among our New Testament manuscripts is what's called a movable nu. It's an N at the end of a word if the following word starts with a vowel, and that N is dropped if the next word starts with a consonant. That's a simple explanation for a movable nu. For example, if you say a book or an apple, well, we understand what that nu is, or that N is doing in English. Same kind of principle. In Arkansas, they say a book, a apple, but we forgive them, but we still know a apple means an indefinite article with the word apple, okay? And the movable nu it didn't move in the first 4 centuries. It was not a feature of Greek. And after that time, it started to move. And so that becomes the most common textual variant. It affects absolutely nothing, and it can't even be translated. The name John sometimes has, Ioannis is the name. Sometimes it has 2 nus in the middle of the word. Sometimes it has 1. So that's a spelling variant, even on a proper name. So these spelling differences are the single largest category. And so if that's 75% of them, now we're down to 100,000 variants. Now, the second largest category is going to be those that are synonyms or things that don't really even affect translation that are other than spelling. It's about 15%. So if you have Lord as opposed to Jesus, this kind of a thing, or transpositions, that's about 15% of all of our textual variants. So it's a very large portion of them. And transpositions in Greek happen because Greek is a highly inflected language, and so you can tell what the subject of the sentence is by the ending of the word rather than by the placement of the word. For example, in Greek you can say Jesus loves John and use exactly the same word for Jesus, the same word for John, and the same word for loves, and you could say it 16 different ways in Greek where it's translated exactly the same each time. Now, the reason for that partially is because the definite article, the word the, Greek has a definite article, is used with proper names sometimes it's not. I did both my master's thesis and my doctoral dissertation on the article in Greek, kind of books that would cure the most hopeless insomniac. But I did those to wrestle with this kind of an issue, and I still don't understand why it's used with proper names and why it's not. There are all sorts of theories out there. Nobody quite understands it, but it's not some kind of a magic bullet that says if you didn't translate it this way, you've missed the point. We don't translate the Joseph and Mary went to Bethlehem. You know, that's not English. And so in Greek, sometimes it has the article, sometimes it doesn't. That adds to the 16 different ways you can have Jesus loves John. Now, what if you have a different spelling for John? Now, if you just multiply that, you know, so 32 times 32 or wherever it ends up being, then you've got little particles, different ways to spell love, different words for love. It gets into the hundreds of ways in which you can say in Greek, Jesus loves John, where the essential meaning is not changed. Now, the point I would raise with this is, here's something that can't even be translated. No translational difference. In a 3-word translation into English could represent hundreds and hundreds of different kind of phrases in Greek. If that's the case, what's the actual potential of variance that we have among our more than 5,700 manuscripts that are out there, among our more than 15,000 versional witnesses in other ancient languages, among our more than 1 million quotations by the Church Fathers? We've only got 400,000? I'm surprised. I would expect it to be in the millions.